H-1B is killing the American worker. We introduced you to just a few of the thousands of people across the country out of work with no job prospects in sight. The cover-up isn't just happening from the top. States and cities are being banned from getting crucial information needed to govern and protect the U.S. workforce. I traveled to Washington, D.C., where I sat down with Delegate Mark Fisher, a tech entrepreneur who represents Calvert County, Maryland. His big transgression? Daring to ask businesses to admit how many H-1B workers they had. Thank you for joining us, Delegate Fisher. When did you first hear about the H-1B program?
I heard about the program when I read in the newspaper about the Disney layoffs. And that really inspired me to start educating myself more about the issue.
Now, you have a tech and business background yourself.
I do. I'm in the telecommunications industry.
Certainly, you have not only a political interest, but your own career interest in
Absolutely.
In finding out what's going on with the American tech workforce. Is that what motivated you to look into this in Maryland?
It did, because I was curious, well, if Florida is having this issue with Disney, I wonder how many H-1B workers we actually have in Maryland. And the question is, well, do we have H-1B workers here, and if so, how many? So last spring, I put in House Bill 950, and the bill was really simple. It was just, hey, if you're a company in Maryland and you decide to hire H-1B workers, then please tell us how many of those workers are working in Maryland.
The whole point being here, just transparency and disclosure so that your constituents and Maryland voters knew which of these companies was relying on, well, cheap foreign labor that was replacing the best and the brightest American tech workers.
That's exactly right. And at the time, we looked at the statistics at the Bureau of Labor Statistics and other agencies to find out how many workers were in Maryland, but we thought, well, how many are there actually? Because I didn't actually believe them. We put the bill in, my office put the bill in, House Bill 950, and then we scheduled a hearing, and that's what started a whole series of events, which absolutely shocked me.
I understand that you ran into a little bit of the H-1B lobby buzzsaw.
The buzzsaw that you wouldn't expect, which is a law firm showed up, and a lady by the name of Dana Delegate testified against the bill. Well, that was the only person that testified against the bill. And Dana Delegate works for the Murthy law firm, which is actually located in Owings Mills, and testified against the bill and said in her testimony, there are no H-1B workers in the state of Maryland.
She actually testified to that at the hearing.
On video.
Wow. You must have been scratching your head that the Maryland Chamber of Commerce, which is supposed to represent, presumably, the best interest of Maryland companies and Maryland workers, for that matter, had a problem with your sunlight bill, and sunlight is the best disinfectant, isn't it?
It really is, and Dana Delegate actually, while she works for the Murthy law firm, she signed herself up at my committee as a representative of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce, as you said. And so we were kind of surprised, why is this individual who's a lawyer testifying on behalf of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce against my little transparency bill?
Yeah.
And so we started digging. Sheila Murthy, who owns the Murthy law firm, is actually the chairman of the board of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce. And Miss Murthy actually owns this law firm that has locations in India as well as in Maryland, and her whole law firm's practice is based on H-1B facilitation.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I bet you didn't know what you were up against when you proposed this bill.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
And so when we found out these facts, of course, we brought this up to the committee. Unfortunately, the bill died because for some reason in Maryland, at least with the Democratic Party, there's this disbelief that this can absolutely be possible, that you would have companies outsourcing jobs to India or elsewhere. And you would think that that would be something that the Democratic Party would want to see.
You think there'd be bipartisan outrage about it, especially now that we live in the age of Trump, who has been talking about this and highlighting the plight of Disney workers. There were a lot of Disney workers who went on the campaign trail with him.
It's exactly, and what's more is that this issue is central to what got Donald Trump elected.
Yes.
Absolutely central. Namely, that American companies and a lot of elected officials are not acting in the best interest of the middle class. And the middle class is getting gutted from these H-1B workers and from our own companies companies that we built as a people and institutions that we built, but instead we're bringing people in from other countries instead of helping our own.
Well, Mark, this experience is such a lesson, and I think a good object lesson for other state legislators out there. Be forewarned. You are definitely waking and arousing a beast when you go up against the H-1B lobby. So thank you so much for sharing it, and good luck with the bill.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.
You bet.